Don't worry about it. What's that? Can they hear me?
Oh, yeah. Captions.
I'm going to stay away from that.
No.
Are we live? Are we live?
Get on that. I'd be happy to help.
I appreciate that.
Because
I'll put you on. We could probably use help Sunday for the race.
In your senior swine showmanship, we have Ryan Deichler, Zach Elliott, Kent Elliott, Alex Osborne, Brooklyn Sedlock, Bella Lascala, McKenna Sitt, and Sam Jensen.
That's fine.
Well, good morning. I'm certainly excited to be here today at West Fair, and I think it's a very, very deep set of senior showmen to start us off. And I certainly think that there's a lot of quality represented all the way through. In my personal opinion, there's a couple of them that sort themselves to the top. And just to kind of briefly talk about a couple of showmen that I think do an outstanding job. In no particular order, the young lady right here in front of me, I think, is very good in terms of making sure her pig's in motion, keeping that pig going, and really making good eye contact with me. I think at the same time, she could probably get that whip just a little bit more horizontal to get a little more leverage on his head and really exhibit that pig to the highest degree. I think a very, very nice showman. The young lady in the kind of corner in the white shirt right there, I think does a great job of eye contact and has a great ring presence out here. I think she's a really enjoyable, smooth showman to watch. At times she'll start to fade to the back of the pack and kind of get in the crowd just a little bit. And I think that that's something that she could improve on just a touch. In my mind, it comes down to a pair of them, and the pair would be the young lady there in the yellow and the young man right here in the green, and there's differences amongst them. The young lady in the yellow, I think, is as intense and just spot on in terms of eye contact, in terms of presentation as anyone. I think at times she'll start to fade just a little bit and maybe isn't always perfectly in control of what that particular gilt does. But boy, her eye contact and her ability to really present one is very, very high. The young man in the green, he's so smooth and such as just a smooth operator in terms of where he places and positions that particular man. Does a very, very nice job in terms of just being relaxed, calm, cool, and collected. He hit the gate, he come out good in terms of what he did, and I like that about him. I thought it was very close within that pair. It comes down to personal preference, in my opinion. Young man's going to be your champion. Young lady will be your reserve. Let's congratulate both those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations to your senior swine showmanship champion, Alex Osmore, and your reserve champion goes to McKenna Sitt. Final call for intermediate swine showman. First call for junior swine showman. In intermediate swine showmanship, we have Brayden Finnernan, Genevieve Deichler, Camille Carr, Grant Carr, Jaden Kilobarda Foot, Alex Mass, Delaney Goshorn, and Brooklyn Buck.
Yep, and then the rest of it. Thank you.
Well, let's put our hands together for a very nice set of intermediate showmen, please. I think a fun set to work through, and in this particular heat, I think there's three that rise to the top. And once again, in no particular order, the young lady there in the gray, I think, does an awesome job of eye contact, and I think she does a very, very nice job of when she's able to get that pig isolated and out here. I think she does a really good job of presenting the views and the angles. We got to work on maybe ring position of the showman just a touch and make sure that we stay on the opposite side there. I think we could be really a fun showman and a talented showman. The pair I think it really comes down to is the young lady in the blue and the young man in the light blue. And just in no particular order, the young lady is the more intense, aggressive option. I think, in my personal opinion, I like that because I think she's able to really maintain good eye contact and really does an awesome job of presenting her pig and aggressively finding the holes in terms of where she needs to place that particular bag. At times, she'll probably switch sides on the wrong side, and I wish that maybe that was a little smoother in terms of those transitions. But boy, I think that showman does a very, very good job of getting her pig presented and driven at an appropriate pace. The young man in the light blue, I think that showman is extremely, extremely fluid in terms of his movements and in terms of how he handles the ring. He's almost slow and methodical about his pace, and he really is calculated in terms of where he ends up and how he gets out there and really does a nice job of getting his pig into open spaces and really presenting his pig at a high level. He'll be my champion. The young lady in the blue will be my reserve. Let's congratulate both those exhibitors, please.
Final call for junior swine showman. Final call for junior swine showman. First call for first year swine. First call for first year swine showman. In your junior swine showmanship, we have AJ Carter, Luke Christensen, Maverick Hell, Haley Goodman, Mallory Goodman, Taylor Jensen, and Will Mass.
Tried to drink it all yesterday during the camel shows and a lot.
I saw the announcement. This one's on YouTube at the extension.
Final call, first year showman. Final call, first year showman. A big thank you to our judge, Will Taylor. He was originally from Flora, Indiana, and he went to Lincoln Land Community College and continued on at Western Illinois University. He was on the judging team at both. Currently, he is the assistant livestock judging coach and a graduate teaching assistant at Iowa State. Thank you, Will.
Outstanding set of junior showmen out here, and I certainly think that there's a deep competition amongst, I believe, the 7 of them. And let's give all 7 a round of applause for a great effort, please. Really a fun set to work through, and really a nice set that I think deserve a very, very good job. And once again, in my personal opinion, it comes down to 3 of them. And I think that the 3 that come to contention in my mind in no particular order, the young man off to my right, boy, he's the most intense showman I've seen all day. Love his eye contact. I love how he gets after it, gets down low, and really exhibits that gilt extremely, extremely well. I think he gets that head driven and gets the most out of that gilt at all times. I think maybe he slipped into a pin there for a second, but he regained his composure extremely, extremely well. Come right back down, was whipping and spurring and doing an awesome, awesome job. The young lady right there kind of going into the corner, I think has been as consistent of a showman as we've seen out here today. Very nice in terms of just being in the center of the ring and positioning herself extremely, extremely well. She probably doesn't get just enough pace out of that particular bat to really stick out, but boy, I think that young lady does an awesome, awesome job in terms of where she puts her pig and how she maintains her composure and how she positions herself. This young man right here in the green shirt kind of in front of me, working his way that way, he's probably the most relaxed showman we've seen out here all day. Very good eye contact, very, very relaxed in terms of how he drives his pig, and I like that ability to just stay relaxed and just stay at the right pace in the right places. I think at times he needs to catch another gear and get out here with just a little bit more intensity. I think all 3 of these showmen suit me extremely, extremely well. It comes down to personal preference for your champion in reserve, and I think it's really fun and a nice kind of discussion. My personal favorite, young man right there, kind of going into the corner. The young lady, 167, will be your reserve. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Congratulations to your champion junior showman, AJ Harder, and your reserve champion junior showman, Hallie Goodman. Final call, first year showman, first class of breeding gilt, class 1.
Got to.
Your first year swine showmanship class is Taylor Black, Camille Carr, Grant Carr, Alex Mass, Will Mass, Jack Jensen, Sam Jensen, Taylor Jensen, and Brooklyn Buck.
What are you doing? Yeah. No, I thought it was
They had to go to Fairway to get it. That's why I asked. I got it.
Yeah.
Place stop by. There you go. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. You're such a good mom.
What a cool opportunity we have out here with our first year showman. And I think it's a very, very cool experience to show for the first time and to be able to be around pigs and have that interaction. I think is so enjoyable. I certainly remember my first time showing, and to have a division of showmanship for that, it's very fun. We've obviously got a couple pigs that are starting to get a little tired, and I understand that, and they're headed to the exit gate. And I think our showmen have done a nice job. Let's give them one big round of applause to encourage them and congratulate them on their first year of showman. I think that there's quite a few showmen that are deserving of the title of your champion or top 5 showmen in this particular division. There's one that I keep coming back to in terms of maintaining their composure, placing their pig at the right place, and going at a really reasonable pace. The young man right here in front of me will be your first place in this particular division. We get out here for second, and I think there's a showman that maybe at times is probably a little bit more intense and probably gets a little bit more out of her particular band and does just an awesome job in terms of presentation. Her partner didn't want to play along the entire time, and that's okay, because as we continue to develop and get deeper into our showmanship years, it's that skill as a showman that'll shine, and we can continue to work at home. Our second place will be the young lady right there with her pig headed toward the corner. Third, I think becomes challenging. In my personal opinion, there's another showman that did a very, very consistent job, always had her pig in front of me and kept him in motion. 289 back tag. Young lady right there with the Berkshire appearing one is going to be your third in this particular division. 4, I think, becomes a little bit more challenging, but there's another showman whose eye contact was very good, whose ring composure was very good. Young lady right here will be your 4th place showman, and then we get out here for 5th, and I think it becomes very challenging to discern who's number 5. In my personal opinion, my 5th favorite showman, young man right there in the white, will be our number 5. Let's congratulate all those showmen and say exit, please.
Congratulations to your top 5 first-year showmen. The champion went to Alexander Mass, Brooklyn Buck, Genevieve Deichler, William Mass, and Taylor Jensen. Final call for your Class 1 breeding gilts. First call for Class 2 breeding gilt. First call. In the ring, we have AJ Harder and McKenna Fitt.
Gatekeepers need one.
I have one, but it doesn't have a.
They just no, that's fine. They just need to know how many are in the class.
Yes, that's
Good way to start our breeding guild show, in my opinion. And the young man right here is going to have your class winner. And I think when it comes down to the fundamentals of a female, she's a looser skeleton option that actually takes a longer and more athletic stride off of either end of her skeleton. And then she's actually the larger outline gilt that I think reads with just a little bit more continuation right there in front of her blade. I think she's got a more realistic look to her upper back and shape. Now that's taking nothing away from the young lady's all white gilt right here in front of me, because I like the turn to that one's upper skeleton. I love the shape she has up high, and what she works in terms of just a raw muscle perspective, I think is extremely, extremely good. Relative to what she packs from a muscularity standpoint up high, I need to intensify her lower feature just a little bit, and then as she goes away, I lengthen her hip and make her functionally longer in the stride she has behind. But a very, very nice skill to be in your second hole. Let's congratulate both those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Congratulations. In the first place of that class was AJ Harder. Final call for Class 2. Final call for Class 2. For Class 2, we have Delaney Gosmore, Alex Osmore, and Maverick Hill.
Another really, really nice set of breeding gilts out here. And I think it becomes challenging amongst them, but my personal favorite is the young man kind of in the center of the ring right here. That's the high-presented gilt that I think has a very, very unique look in terms of her head carriage and what she positions in terms of being a fresh and yet athletic kind of gilt. I really like the genuine composition and condition that he brings her to me in, and I think that she's got a very striking presence from the side. I'll be the first to admit that relative to a greener body shape and kind of a less advanced look in terms of her forerib, I actually have a bit of a concern with where she sets her rear joint, but boy, I think that one is easily the most attractive from the side. The young lady comes in second. She's easily the more pliable option. It's deeper about her side and just more productive in terms of her rib. But I think as you study that one coming and going, you've got to have her offer more genuine skeletal width to say that she's just opened up enough to match that condition. I could clean her throat up just a little bit, but boy, that's a deep-bodied, good-sided kind of gilt. The young man that's going to be in third in this particular class brings us one that probably has the combination in terms of blade and forearm and a shot of muscle up high. At the same time, she's probably the most concerning from a skeletal standpoint in terms of her angles and her reach and flexibility. But a nice gilt to be in third there, and let's congratulate all three of those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations to Alex Osmore and Delaney Gosmore. Last call for Class 3, last call for Class 3. Class 3, we have Alexander Mass, Alex Osmore, Bella Lascala, and AJ Harder. First call for Class 4, first call for Class 4.
Boy, another really nice set of breeding gilts here, and I think it maybe could be close on top. In my personal opinion, the leader in terms of proportion, the leader in terms of body balance and design is the young man's gilt that's kind of hanging in the ear there. And I realize she probably isn't feeling perfect, but boy, when she gets her head propped up and she starts to carry it normally, she's filled to the max, she's presented very, very highly. I think that gilt has a very square look in terms of her skeleton, and then she actually utilizes it with athleticism and comfort. I think that gilt's proportions are very, very neat, and I like what she represents in this particular class. I like that gilt quite well. The young man kind of to my left is going to be in second in this particular class, and I think length and an extension absolutely favor that particular hog, in my opinion. She's longer necked and she's longer bodied, and I like those things because she's got a touch of fill there to her lower rib. I think relative to what she packs in terms of length, I couldn't confidently say that she's wider skeletoned up high, and then as she goes away, she'll start to pivot and turn right there in her rear hip and rear skeleton, but a very, very nice gilt to be there in second. The young lady with the purple brush is going to be in third in this particular class, and she's easily the hardest backed and heaviest shaped in this particular drive, and I love that kind of definition and turn to her stifle and hip. I think at the same time that contributes to a more terminal look as she needs to balance that with a shot more lower rib and body, and then we can work her up. That's taking nothing away from the young man that's going to be here in fourth in this particular class, because I think that gilt covers the basics pretty well, in my opinion. She's got some length, she's got some body. She probably doesn't have enough just freshness built into her skeleton for me personally, and then at the same time she'll rock forward her shoulder just a little bit and get a little uncoordinated how she goes behind. But that's a big hind leg and got some muscle up high. Let's congratulate all four of those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Final call for class 4. Congratulations to Alex Osborne, AJ Harder. In class 4, we have Braden Finneran, Caden Goodman, and Maverick Held.
Well, I think a very, very nice class, and honestly, I think it comes down to a pair of them, and I really was confident in how I wanted to place them. I just had to figure out how to describe them, and I think that comes down to nitpicky little things and personal preference, in my personal opinion. The young man in the kind of light blue shirt is going to start this particular class, and I think that yield from the sides pieces fit together just a little bit neater, and the shorter backed option stays leveler right through her ham loin junction. She ties you more smoothly right there in front of her shoulder, and I think that yield's got all the body shape and substance you could ever desire. I think specifically where I think she excels is as she comes right at you, she'll stay more genuine in where she sets her front feet. I'm not saying she's wider chested, but I think she stays more genuine where she sets her front feet. And then as she goes away, she actually uses her hock with a touch more mobility and a touch more discomfort in how she sits down with a denser rear leg. I'll be the first to admit she's on the edge behind, and I'd like to change the way her neck and the top of her head fit into her to just freshen and make her a touch more attractive. And that's where the young man's guild comes in and actually grabs the advantage in terms of how she's constructed in her head, how her face and just the features she has right there in front of her shoulder is very, very good. I love that gild's turn and shape up high, and I think she's really stout as she goes away. But like I said, despite being wider chested, she'll bring her front feet in just a little bit. I don't love the way she transitions right out of her shoulder blade, and I could strengthen her ham loin. But boy, that one's got the extras in terms of width of blade, in terms of width of hip, and I really, really like her extra shape up high. A great pair that I think is fun to discuss. Taking nothing away from the young man, it's going to be in third because, boy, that one is deep-bodied, soft-centered, and so good in terms of feel and productivity. I love those things about her. Relative to what she's got from a condition standpoint, I need to intensify her feature to match just a little bit better and then loosen her rear skeleton. But boy, that's probably the most pliable gilt we've seen all day. Let's congratulate those three exhibitors as they exit, please.
Congratulations to Braden Finneran and Kaden Goodman. Last call for Class 5. Last call for Class 5. Situation this year, there's no livestock auction on Monday. It has been changed to a premium donation drive. The Livestock Sale Committee is asking for your continued support of the 2020 West Fair Livestock exhibitors by making a cash check donation to the Livestock Sale Committee. This money will be distributed just in the past years as they qualify to have items on the sale. And just find Tom if you need a sheet. Or come back here now is what he said. In this class, we have Lila Spencer, Jack Jensen, and McKenna Sitt. First call for final drive breeding guilds. First call for final drive breeding guilds.
A really nice way to end our our breeding guild division here with our Class 5 winner. Boy, I think when that young lady gets that yield stock, she is the loosest, most athletic female we've seen in terms of just the build to her skeleton, the comfort that she's designed with. I think at this heavy of a weight, she's still fresh, she's still genuine. I like her width behind, and I think she's got a really, really neat look in terms of her head carriage, and her squareness of skeleton. Two things that are awfully, awfully nitpicky. She's not the widest coming at you, and she can be just a little smoother in her ham loin. But boy, I think that one offers a lot of unique pieces from a proportion standpoint, and from an ability to really get out here, flex, and do it with a shot of feature. The young lady, picture right there, is going to be in second in this particular class, and I think that one actually has the advantage in terms of depth of rib, pliability, and just softness of body. She probably needs a shot more shape and just turn up high. But boy, I think that's a nice, good, purebred influence kind of gilt to be there in second. Interestingly enough, the young man's other Berkshire appearing gilt comes in with a shot of muscularity and muscle shape. I like that about her because relative to that breed, that's special to do. I don't know if that gilt's shoulder angle is just comfortable enough for me to roll higher with her, but a very, very nice gilt. Let's congratulate all three of those exhibitors. We're excited to pick you a champion.
Congratulations to Lila Spencer and McKenna Sick. Final call for final drive breeding guild. Final call for final drive breeding guild. All the circled ones are new ones. In your final drive, we have AJ Harder, Alex Osmore, Braden Kinneran, Lila Spencer, McKenna Sick, Caden Goodman, AJ Harder, Delaney Gosworn, and McKenna Sick.
We get out here for Champion Breeding Guilds, and I think it's very, very enjoyable in terms of what we have to select from. And each of those class winners comes back out here, and I'm very, very pleased with how they come back. And with that being said, I do think that there's one that rises to the top, in my personal opinion. Flexibility, athleticism, with an extra shot of just bone and density. I love her freshness at this advanced stage. The lady that won the last class will have your Champion Breeding Guild. Well, we dropped that second out, and I talked about her pliability. I talked about her softness and being that deep in terms of her body. I really like those things about her. But with that being said, I do think there's another one that comes into contention. I thought pushed our champion extremely, extremely hard. I love her proportions. I love her length of body, and I love her elevation. Relative to what I think's a very competitive champion, she probably didn't push enough bone into the envelope for me personally. But boy, I think she's got some very, very neat pieces. Young man right here will have your reserve. Let's congratulate all our breeding guild exhibitors, please.
Your champion breeding guild goes to Lila Spencer, and your reserve champion breeding guild goes to Alex Osmore. Congratulations. First call for Class 1 Market Guilds. First call for Class 1 Market Guilds. Donations can be given to any livestock sales committee member. A huge thank you in advance for your continued support. Also, a big thanks to John Fisher and Tom Trady for all sales committee members. In Class 1, we have Taylor Black and McKenna Sick. Final call for Class 2. Final call for Class 2.
Really good way to start our market guild division, and I think it's very challenging between these two. But as I rest assured, I'm comfortable with the young lady in the kind of yellowish green shirt to start. More muscle, more muscularity, and more shape built into that guild. I think she's got a touch more power in terms of how she goes away, and just a notch more definition to her ham and hip and stifle. Like that guild shape and just turn a touch better. Now, that's taking nothing away from the Berkshire marked guild that's going to be here in second. Length of body is very, very good on that particular pig, and she's still square in terms of her build. At the same time, I think she runs out of genuine feature and genuine width at the base of her skeleton, and that's what allows her to stay in second. But a really nice guild, nice pair to be there on our beginning of our market guild show. Let's congratulate both those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations, Taylor Black and McKenna Sick. Final call, class 2. Entering the ring, we have AJ Harder, Lou Christensen, Mallory Goodman, Will Mass, and Genevieve Deichler.
My sister-in-law was yelling at me on text. I'm like, why?
Really nice set of pigs here at the top end, and I think that they're different in what they have to offer, in my opinion. And I think that they're different in terms of what they bring to the table. I'm going to go ahead and start with the young man's blue or black-hipped kind of gill, black-tailed one right there off to my left. And I think what allows her to win this particular class is muscle and muscularity. As you get to the top of that one, skeleton, she's wider and more opened up out of the back of her blade. She's got more shape up high, and then relative to her hip, I actually think she handles just a touch more in terms of volume of muscle behind relative to what I think is an ultra-competitive second. Now, from the side, I actually prefer the freshness and just athleticism that the blue gill brings to the table, because I really think that that one's really fresh and really nice in terms of how she's presented. At the same time, I don't think she has as much spread to her upper back and as much shape and just freshness, or shape and turn built into her upper skeleton, and she'll start to set her rear foot just a little bit wider. But a really nice skill to be there in second. The young lady over here is going to be in third. Big body, very pliable and very wide. I wish that gill just had a touch more look to match that muscle, and we could work her on up. The young man that's going to be in four, boy, he fought a good fight. I certainly want to commend him for keeping his composure and doing a really nice job. That one's really hard shaped. It's a little bit just tighter in terms of his lower rib, and wish there was a little bit more there. But boy, that young man did awesome. The young lady is going to be in five here, tall and extended. Just gets a little flat in terms of her body for me personally, but a very nice way to end this class. Let's congratulate all five of those exhibitors on an outstanding job.
red ribbon. Who did I just say that to? Am I talking to somebody? Yeah. No, they don't have it.
Congratulations, your first place purple ribbon goes to Luke Christensen. Second place purple ribbon goes to AJ Harder. Third place goes to Mallory Goodman with a blue ribbon. Fourth place blue, William Mass. Fifth place red, Genevieve Deichler. Final call, class 3. Final call, class 3. In class 3, we have Alexander Mass, Bella Lascala, Ken Elliott, Alex Osborne, Ryan Deichler, and Grant Carr.
Nice way to start in this particular class, and at no point was I not starting with this young man's market yell, wide, genuine, square, good shaped in terms of her body, and good in terms of her chest coming at you. Got muscle, and still does it with the right kind of athleticism. I thought it was much closer between 2 and 3. In my opinion, there's differences amongst them. The young lady going to my right is going to be in second in this particular class. I like the muscle shape and muscularity that one brings in the upper portion of her skeleton. I think she's a shot wider in her pin set. I'd be the first to admit I could just soften her rib and expand her upper rib cage just a little bit, but I think she's got the advantage in cutability and freshness. The young man is going to be the third over here, off to my right. I think that particular hog comes with more spread and just a shot more in terms of dimension of body and dimension of back. At the same time, I don't read her as comfortable in her hind leg. Wish her rear joint was more flexible and comfortable. And then I wish she had a shot more in terms of freshness and shape. 4 and 5 in this particular class, I also thought was close. And to be honest, it comes down to the young man's blue deal having just a shot more in terms of freshness and shape, and just a shot more in terms of cutability up high. I think that's just a little bit more turn and just a little bit more in terms of definition. Now, the Berkshire Imperial Gilt, certainly long-bodied and productive. I like what she represents from those standpoints, and she's got some dimension behind. She's just a little bit too plain for me personally. That's what relegates her to 5th. And then the young man in 6th, elevated, very long and extended. There's not enough genuine muscle and feature in that particular gilt for me. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Final call for Class 4. Congratulations with the first place of Alex Osmore with a purple ribbon. Second goes to Bella Lascala with a purple ribbon. Third place goes to Grant Carr with a blue ribbon. Fourth place goes to Alexander Mass with a blue ribbon. Fifth place, Ken Elliott, blue ribbon. Sixth place, Ryan Deichler with a blue ribbon. In Class 4, we have Ryan Deichler, Alex Osmore, Braden Finneran, Camille Carr, Lila Spencer, Hallie Goodman, Delaney Gosworth, Brooklyn Sedlock. First call for Class 5. First call for Class 5.
in my opinion, easily the deepest class of the day comes in this market gilt class. And I don't know if there's probably just the perfect one, but I do know that the one that starts, in my personal opinion, is the one that intrigues me the most. And I will go home and rest easy tonight knowing that I use this particular gilt to win this class because she's huge-footed, huge-legged, very, very good in terms of the density she has to her body. She's a short-backed, wide-hipped gilt that really, really has a unique look in terms of being that bold and that stout, and yet still that cool in terms of her design. I'll be the first to admit she's on the edge behind, and I wish I could secure that to say she wins so easily. But boy, that one has some very interesting pieces. The young lady's gilt's going to be here in second, and I think that one steps in, and she actually has a shot more just crease and turn to her upper back. I really, really like that in terms of what she offers. And she's probably a touch longer in terms of how she's built in front of her neck and her shoulder. I think at the same time, she still doesn't get perfectly out of her hind leg. I challenge you to watch where she sets her rear feet as she goes directly away. But boy, I think that one's so good from a lower body, upper rib, and just back perspective. The freshest presented one is easily the one in third. I'm the most comfortable with where she's at from a build and agility standpoint. I love that athleticism. I love that range of motion. I think that particular gilt easily has the advantage in terms of build in this class. Catch her coming and going. I'm not sure if there's enough genuine spread to push the creatures in front of her. I just think that gilt needs a shot more muscle here in a market gilt class. Now, the one that steps into fourth is one that's hard for me to read in some areas because that's so deep-bodied and so wide in terms of what she brings to the table. I really like that extra just spread to her rib. I don't know if I read her just aggressive enough in terms of her condition, and I think she'll start to get a little softer as you work back to her 10th. I think that gilt needs to just be a little bit more aggressive, and then relative to her extra weight, I'd like to see her take a more secure and longer stride behind. Bold, stout, wide, huge-chested, come in the belted gilt right there. Her issue's going away. She starts to get a little bit extra wide, and I wish I could change that about her. The young lady's white gilt comes next, long, extended, like the turn she has up high. She gets a little plain in terms of her lower body, gets a little plain right there in front of her skull and head. Young lady with the black-headed one, really, really good in terms of covering the basics of body and fundamentals. I don't know if she's long enough in her hip and just intense enough in her feature to push on higher. And then the young man that closes in 9 there, I think is really extended, really tall, probably not just enough genuine muscle in my opinion. Really good class, excited to work through our champions. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors, please.
Last call, class 5. Congratulations to Braden Finneran with a purple ribbon and Lila Spencer with a purple in second. In third was Alex Osmore with a purple ribbon. In fourth was Hallie Goodman with a purple ribbon. In fifth was Delaney Gosmore with a purple ribbon. In sixth is Brooklyn Sedlock with a blue ribbon. Seventh is Camille Carr with a blue ribbon. And eighth was Brian Deichler with a blue ribbon. Entering class 5 is Zach Elliott and Taylor Jensen. I would say first call for market gilt, first call for final drive market gilt.
Well, a really nice way to end our market gilt class or division here. And we've got 2 representatives that I think are nice. And in my personal opinion, the Berkshire marked one's going to be your class winner in this particular class. Deep-sided, productive rib, covers the basics of what a market hog should be. He does it with an accelerated and elevated weight. I like that about her. The young man's going to be in second. I actually think that one's got a shot more length of body and just a shot more in terms of elevation of skeleton. Probably a bit more tone back from a condition standpoint. I don't know if there's as much genuine spread and width built into that one's skeleton, but a very, very nice bear to be, or gilt to be there in second. Let's congratulate those 2 exhibitors, please.
Congratulations Congratulations, Taylor Jensen with first place purple, and Zach Elliott with the second purple. Final call for the final drive. Final call for the final drive. In this class, we have Taylor Jensen, Braden Finneran, Alex Osmore, Luke Christensen, and Taylor Black, and also McKenna Sick, AJ Harder, Bella Lascala, Lila Spencer, and Zach Elliott.
Well, it's certainly been an outstanding market guild show. Let's give all these champion market guild exhibitors a round of applause, please. In my personal opinion, it comes down to a pair of them out here, and I certainly think that they're close in terms of what they bring to the table and what they offer, in no particular order. The young man's belted one off to my left is the one that epitomizes balance, presence, proportionality. I really like that gild's freshness of condition. I really like that gild's freshness of presentation. She's really square and really genuine in terms of what she has to offer with a great head carriage and a very, very, very neat look. I think the question mark on her becomes, is there enough bone? Is there enough just mass at the base of her skeleton to run with that particular gild? The other one that's in contention, in my opinion, is the young man's the one, the second to last class. That one is stout, wide, bone, big shaped, and very, very good from a body shape and mass perspective. In terms of density of hind leg and the kind of tail set and tail root that that particular gild has, I think is very, very interesting. The question mark becomes, is she just comfortable and coordinated enough behind for a guy, and where do you stand on that particular area? I think it becomes close. I think it's very fun. It's very interesting. My personal favorite, young man that won the second to last class with the blue gild, will be your champion. We dropped that second out, and I think that one certainly comes into contention from a max shape perspective and from a perspective of being that fresh at this accelerated of a weight. And I like that about that particular gild. I do think that relative to the contemporaries, there's another one that suits me extremely, extremely well. I think, as we talked, I like her balance, I like her proportions. She's a totally different mold than my champion, but I think she's the second best one. Young man right there in the green will have your reserve.
Congratulations to Braden Finneran with your champion market gilt, and your reserve champion market gilt goes to Alex Osmore. First call for market barrows. First call for market barrows for class 1. livestock judging coach, and a graduate teaching assistant at Iowa State. Thank you, Will. Also, big thank you to Eric Darrington, Nick Reiner, Seth Young, Adam East, Addison Fisher, Butch Plum, Ashlyn Emery, Ashley Babe, for all your ring help today. In this class, we have Taylor Black and McKenna Sick. First call for class 2, first call for class 2.
Yeah. That's what I was laughing at. I was laughing at.
Really, really good pair of market homes to start our show. And amongst them, I'm the most comfortable with it. This weight, the maturity and lean carcass cutout value that the white bear brings to the table. I think he's truer and more trim. The upper part of his skeleton, that matches better right below his jawline. And just, I think that bear is going to take more trim to the rail and going to continue to just accrete muscle at a better rate. That's taking nothing away from the young man's Berkshire appearing one. Moderate, really soft rib. I think at the same time, he's been on the same quarantine diet I have, and it's all kind of settled right below his jawline, just like me. And I think that starts to take away from his balance just a little bit. But that particular hog's really good from a pliability standpoint. Let's congratulate both those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Congratulations to McKenna Sick and Taylor Black, both taking purples. Last call, class 2. Last call, class 2. In class 2, we have Grant Carr, Brooklyn Sedlock, Katie Goodman, Alex Osborne, Brooklyn Buck, Maverick Kelb, and Zach Elliott. First call for class 3. First call for class 3.
second class of barons drop in, and I think it becomes a close top decision amongst two barons who I'd both amend their rear skeleton just a little bit. Amongst them, I actually think the one that coordinates better from the side is the young man's blue blanketed baron right there. I think he's got a little bit more extension in front of his blade and just a little bit more of an attractive look. I think he's square coming at you, and I really, really like the proportions and balance that baron portrays. Now, there's a shot more turn and shape up high in the young man's baron right here. I actually think he reads just a little bit more aggressive right out of the back of his shoulder. At the same time, he'll start to pitch forward his shoulder blade. He'll start to spin his honk out just a little bit, and then he'll push out in terms of where he sets his left rear joint just ever so slightly. The young lady over there in the corner is going to be in 3, square and genuine. Describe that particular hog, in my opinion. I don't know if that hog just has the extras of the 2 in front of him to work on up in this particular class, but certainly a baron that I like in terms of his squareness of pin and his squareness of hip. The young lady that's going to be in 4th in this particular class is right here. I think that hog has a really nice look in terms of squareness of back and just squareness of hip and pin. I don't know if that hog just has enough genuine feature to match what he's got up high. I wish his body shape was a little bit more aggressive. Now the one that comes next steps in and does that. The young man in the green right there that's going to be in 5. I think that particular hog is really soft-bodied, really good in terms of pliability of rib. I don't know if that hog particularly has just enough to match at the base of his skeleton, and I wish he was a little bit better there. The young man that had the blue baron that went next, certainly one that's long and extended, could have given him a shot more rib. The young man's Berkshire that closes has got some just some density built into his skeleton and some spread to his upper back. He probably doesn't blend and balance perfectly enough for me, but a nice baron to round out a good class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations with Alex Osborne. With your first purple, your second purple goes to Caden Goodman. The rest are blues. 3rd in Brooklyn Buck. 4th goes to Brooklyn Sedlock. 5th goes to Maverick Kell. 6th goes to Grant Carr. And 7th was Zach Elliott. Final call for Class 3. Final call for Class 3. In this class, we have Zach Elliott, Luke Christensen, Genevieve Deichler, Alex Osborne, William Mass, Lila Spencer, and AJ Carter. First call for Class 4.
Good class out here, and I certainly think that it's fun to discern between the top 3 in this particular class. But the young man's blue hipped baron is going to start. I think natural elevation of skeleton. I think natural just ability to have presence, to excel. That particular hog really, really good. I think what's impressive was the fact that he's that wide in terms of his hip and pin set and still square in what he has to offer. I'd maybe just intensify his view as he comes at you and spread his chest just a little bit more and then just open his forerib up. But boy, I think that baron certainly has one very fresh shape, a very fresh look, and the most unique presence in this particular class. Now, when you talk about rib shape and body, the young lady's pig comes in second. You absolutely is the answer in terms of that particular indice. I think that particular hog's so wide-ribbed and so soft in terms of his body. I think that particular one is so wide-hipped. At the same time, when he comes right at you, he'll close at his knee. I need to change the way his front skeleton's built, just freshen him up just a little bit in his lower rib and body. The young man's doing a nice job with that particular bear that comes in, and he's quite a bit more honest from a condition and composition standpoint. I think where I started to get more critical of him is as he goes directly away. There's not enough in the seat of his pants, and just I wish I could just make him a touch stouter right there in his lower hip and stifle. The young man that comes fifth in this particular class is right here. Big shaped and hard back. Describe that bear. He probably gets a little more uncoordinated in his skeleton for me personally, but I thought relative to the one that's going to be sixth, he had a shot more feature and a shot more lower bone to match what he was packing up high. Young man's Berkshire influence one coming next. I really think that hump's got a big blade and a big arm worked into it. I don't know if he reads aggressive enough in his upper skeleton, and I wish he was just a little longer in his hip. And then the young lady that closes, really long body, really good from a perspective of having some elevation. I wish that one had just a shot more muscle as he went away. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Congratulations, Alex Osmore with your first place purple. Second goes to Lila Spencer with a purple. Third goes to AJ Carter with a purple. And the rest are blues, going to Luke Christensen, Will Mass, Zach Elliott, and Genevieve Deichler. Final call for class 4. Final call for class 4. First call for class 5. First call for class 5. In the ring, we have Lila Spencer, Delaney Gosshorn, Sam Jensen, Brooklyn Sedlock, Braden Finneran, and McKenna Sick.
I don't need drinking water. So just something else.
yesterday.
We've got some hand sanitizer too.
I'm good. I'm soaking wet. How's it? All right.
We don't want you having
Really good start to this particular class, and I think the top pair's close, but as we start to evaluate, I'm just more comfortable starting the young man's barra because I think that one actually comes at you so good in terms of his genuine with the chest. I love his proportions because he's short in his back, he's high in his head, he's tall in his shoulder, and yet he still gets out and takes a long stride. I will not be the first to say that he's just athletic and just running out here, but I do think that relative to the one that's second, he stays square from his pin set to his hop, and then that maintains a truer look behind. And I think if you just kind of minimize his field just a little bit, he'd get out here and become more comfortable. But boy, I think that barra's got all the pliability and a very, very neat look in terms of building barras from the side. That's taking nothing away from the young lady's barra that's going to be in second, because I actually think he's got more turn and roll to his upper rib cage, and he's got just a bit more shape as you work out the backside of his blade. I think that hook's wide-chested, but at the same view, you can start to see his rear feet poke out from behind. I wish he was a little bit more secure in where he set his rear feet and just how he assembled his skeleton, but I do think he's got a very, very fresh shape and a very, very good turn up high. The young lady right there is going to be in third in this particular class, and boy, I think that barra's got a very good lean muscle and lean muscularity built into him. That's a heart shape, a big hip, and a big pin set. At the same time, he starts to migrate toward the corner, and I think that's a derivative of him being just a little bit more uncomfortable and uncoordinated in his skeleton for me personally. But that's taking nothing away from the young lady that's going to be in four in this particular class. That hunk short back, got a good turn up high and a great spread. I think relative to his contemporaries, he'll get the easiest at his ham-loin junction. And I think the lower-headed barra just needs to have a more comfortable build to his skeleton. Young lady's white one, I think, is basic, good body, very, very good in terms of just covering the basics of a market hog. He probably doesn't do it with enough aggression and muscle and look. And then the young man that closed, I certainly think has some feature built into him, not enough spread as he goes directly away. And then his hop got the tightest as we lasted the duration of the drive. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors who will be ready for the next class.
Final call for Class 5. Final call for Class 5. Congratulations to Braden Finneran with your first place purple. Second goes to Lila Spencer with a purple. Third goes to Delaney Gosshorn with a purple. Fourth, McKenna Sick with a blue. Fifth, Brooklyn Sedlock with a blue. And sixth goes to Sam Jensen with a blue. In this class, we have Alex Osborne, Maverick Pell, Ryan Deichler, Mallory Goodman, Hallie Goodman, and Bella Lascala. First call for Class 6. First call for Class 6.
Nice class of bears out here, and I certainly think that there's no debating in my mind the class winner. And that's not to say he's perfect. I think from the side, he's got the best proportions, he's got the neatest look, and he's got the most just true value and quality when he's built from the side. He's not the widest chested, and I'm okay with that because I think he's got the most quality to start. The young lady right here is going to be in 2 in this particular class, and I think it's close between 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I certainly think that there's debate amongst them. For me, this one's the widest and most opened up in his skeleton. I think that bear comes and goes with the most width, and then relative to one that's 3, he's got a touch more turn and shape up high and just a little bit more expression in terms of the turn and outward curve to his upper rib cage. The young man right there is going to be in 3. Very good from a pliability standpoint. Love the softness he's built with, and I think he has a squareness as he goes away. I think relative to his extra fill and condition, he needs a shot more from a muscularity standpoint. I wish we could just give him a little bit more in that regard. This young lady's going to be next in this particular class, and I think that one's got a good shape up high and a nice kind of spread to her. His skeleton, I think that hung gets a little longer in terms of his body, just a little frailer, and it'll come into his front feet just a little bit, but I certainly think that's a nice bear to be there in the 4-hole. The young, or 5-hole, excuse me. The young lady that's going to be next in this particular class, I think, has one that's got some length, got some extension, got some just ability to have reach and range of motion. That one gets too plain, in my personal opinion. Wish he was a little more aggressive in his muscle and muscularity. And then the young man that closed is long, extended, and very elevated. Not enough muscle in that particular hog. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as we get ready for the last class of CrossFit bears.
Final call for class 6. Final call for class 6. Congratulations to Alex Osborne with your first place purple. Second place purple goes to Hallie Goodman. Third place blue goes to Maverick Held. Fourth place blue goes to Bella Lascala. Fifth place blue goes to Valerie Goodman. And sixth place goes to Ryan Deichler with a blue.
Earlier we thanked the ring help. We need to thank the ladies back here making it happen. My beautiful, wonderful wife, Whitney, Julie, and Jenny, thank you guys. And also a big thank you to Adam Darrington for being the man in charge and taking care of everything and handling the complaint department. Thank you.
Elliott, Delaney Osborne, Jack Jensen, Zach Elliott, and Kent Elliott. First call for final drive market barrel. First call for final drive market barrel.
Really nice class of barrows to finish here. And the young ladies at no point was not winning. I think that particular hog is very good in terms of his balance, his presence, his build. He's got muscularity. He does the basics, and yet does it with an extra shot of show ring presence and design. I'd probably make his hind leg just a little bit longer, his hip a little bit longer to say he could win and really push hard, but a nice barrow to be there in the second hole. The young man is going to be young man right there is going to be in second in the corner with the red brush. I certainly think that one was close between 2 and 3. I thought that the young man right there now had one that was a little bit more aggressive up high, had just a shot more shape and turn to his upper rib. I thought those were very similar. I thought 3 was really good from a pliability standpoint. I think that particular hog is just probably not as just crisp in terms of his body and just his shape. I thought 3, 4, and 5 very, very close, all very good in terms of their ability to have just a shot of muscle. They're long hogs that are productive. I like this one the next best. I think he's the loosest in his skeleton. The young man that has come next, I think, is the second loosest, and then the one that's going to be in fifth in this particular. Sixth in this particular class is just probably the most tied up in his skeleton. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they exit, please.
Final call for the final drive. Final call for the final drive.
Which pig? Which pig? I only see one pig.
For that last class, the first purple went to Delaney Gosshorn, and second purple went to Jack Jensen. And don't know the rest of the placings, but I'll let you know. In your final drive market barrels, you have McKenna Sick, Alex Osmore, Braden Finneran, Alex Osmore, Delaney Gosshorn, Jack Jensen, Hallie Goodman, Lila Spencer, Brooklyn Buck, and Taylor Black.
Let's start with a big round of applause for all our exhibitors at the Champion Market Barrels. I certainly think it's been a great show and a really, really fun division to work through. And I think there's a lot of quality represented out here in terms of what we bring together for a champion selection. I do think that there's a couple of them that just suit me the best in terms of doing the extras but covering the basics so well and doing it in a square fashion, doing it with the right kind of proportions. My personal favorite, and winner right here, Hybrid Champion. We dropped the second out, and I certainly thought that pair was fun to discuss in class, and it's no different now. I think that this particular bear is really good in his upper rib cage and how he comes out of his upper rib cage. I could probably change his skeleton just a little bit up front and just make him a little more secure behind, but I still think it comes down to him in the pair, and the other one that's in contention in my mind is the young man's blue bear, kind of headed to the far end over here. I think he's very attractive. He's very, very good in terms of his look, his presence. I think his proportions are very, very nice, and I like those about him. Surprisingly, relative to that kind of look and style from the side, he's still got a big hip laid into him. He, too, could flex his hop just a little bit more appropriately right there in his rear joint. But, boy, I think it's good. I think it's a close pair. I'm going to take one more look at it, and then I'll give a fist bump to your reserve.
Attention, anybody, all 4-Hers need to fill out your sale entry animal card by Saturday by 5 o'clock. You have to have that filled out for all of our kids. Grand Champion Market Barrow went to Braden Finneran, and Reserve Champion Market Barrow went to Lila Spencer.
Drop the ball. No.
They got to do grand and then reserve, so that way if one, no, I know, but they have to do a reserve for the shootout in case the grand doesn't want to go. Bring them all.
So he's just going to place the barrow in the gilt one?
Maybe. He might take barrow, or he might take barrow, gilt. He might take gilt.
Oh, he wants the grand same
Because he's got to pick grand and then reserve, figure out, so if the grand doesn't want to go, then reserve for the shootout.
$1,000 a state. This year, I think a little bigger, but just 30 to 19. The announcer. No, they might be different this year because normally the governor said a law that all schools can start July 23rd. Yes, but I know what everyone knows.
You make an announcement that this is traveling trophy for Spring North Hall, either memory of Bernard and Iris.
The Grand Champion Market Swine Wester Trophy is donated in memory of Bernard and Iris McDonald. It's a traveling trophy, and the Supreme Overall Hog winner will be given this trophy.
When we get out here for selection of your champion and reserve champion overall market, I certainly think it's an awesome, awesome honor and a really competitive set. Let's congratulate all four of these exhibitors for making it to the final drive. Well, I think it's fun to sort through pigs of this quality and to come to a county fair. I was just over there talking. This is probably one of the larger county fairs that I've been to, and my hat is off to the extension crew that's behind this and set this up, my ring help. Let's give all those people a big round of applause, please. Certainly with the climate that we're in right now and what we're going through, it is always an honor to be at a stock show, and it's always fun to be able to step into the ring and to evaluate livestock and watch kids' hard work, dedication, and ability pay off. I certainly think that it's a lot of fun in my personal opinion. With that being said, I don't give many speeches, and I don't think that people really have much care for what I have to say outside of describing livestock, and so I don't even try, but I do think that these livestock are very good. I think that they're very outstanding in what they do. I do have two favorites. I'll keep the Barras together as your champion in reserve.
Congratulations to Graydon Finneran for your Supreme Overall Hog and Lila Spencer for your reserve. Adam, you want this? And Graydon is receiving the Grand Champion Market Swine in memory of Bernard and Iris McDonald.
If Deborah Horseman Miller is around for pictures for the Nopperell ad of the grand champions for the Nopperell ad, if she's around to take pictures, come over to the show ring, please. Thank you.
In your kind of three, we have Alex Osborne, Brooklyn Sedlock, AJ Harder, Ryan Deichler, and Jack Jensen.
Great pin show here, and certainly a lot of good in terms of what these have to offer. I think that there's a very standout pin of three right there in the young man in the greens pin. I think that those are uniformly good, and they've got a quality, consistent kind of look to them. I like that pin quite well. Let's congratulate that young man on his champion pin. I thought 2 and 3 were very close, in my opinion. I gave them both purples because I thought that it was discerning fine details amongst them. The young lady right here is going to be your reserve pin. I think that pin's good in terms of quality. I think they've got a little bit more muscle shape and just a little bit more turn up high, and I think that equates to a touch more market on quality, in my opinion. Now that's to take nothing away from the third place pin over here, because boy, they are very consistent in what they have to offer. I think that relative to their breed, they're very soft in their body. They've got extras in terms of product. I don't know if I just see enough muscle shape in terms of what they have to offer, specifically as you get in right behind them. Let's congratulate all these exhibitors on a great pin show, please.
Congratulations to Alex Osborne with your first place purple, and your second reserve goes to Bella Scala with the purple, and third goes to Jack Jensen. Thank you everybody for coming to this year's Swine Show. Thank you for all of our ring help. Thank you to our two superintendents, Dan Miller and Adam Darrington. And thank you to our judge,